How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. A little nervous, but I'm doing okay. Joplin, Missouri, born and raised. Mom had heart problems and some other issues and actually died of brain cancer. My dad died just 2 months shy of his 90th birthday from things that had to do with dementia. Dad was 52 when I was born, and Mama was 36. So, and then I've got a brother that's 16 and a half years older than me, and one that's a year and 14 days older than me. Um, it wasn't a bad childhood by any means, but it wasn't a great one. It was what it was. I'm over it. Um, so that's my history. Um, was in a couple of foster homes. My sophomore through my senior year, which I really think was good. Um, it taught me a lot about how to deal with my parents. And then I came back here I was up in Kansas City on my last one. I came back to Joplin to graduate, and I graduated in '81, so I'm older than dirt. Um, and then I got pregnant right before I graduated, before I got pregnant. So I had that for me, but had my first child right after I turned 18. And my second daughter was born on my 20th birthday. And I stopped there. I lost my youngest child March 1st of 2019 at the age of 35 to cardiac sarcoma. So there's that. And that's my background. I have 6 grandkids that are the light of my life. Another daughter that is so much like me that it's scary. I didn't start really having pain until I started having back issues, which were work related, because I thought I was a big muscular man and thought I could throw freight and couldn't. But I wasn't even diagnosed with lupus until 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I had pain in my hands and in my joints already. My doctor told me he knew I had discoid lupus, and he swears I never told him. The last time I had been tested for systemic lupus was like 6 or 7 years before they finally diagnosed me, and it always come back negative. And so
Mm-hmm.
when this doctor finally tested me, he goes, "Oh yeah, you've got it." So they got me into a rheumatologist who I've been with since 2010, 2011, and she's wonderful. I manage it. Sometimes, when you're in a flare, it's hard to tell if you're in a lupus flare, if you're in a fibro flare. Um, Fibro to me affects more of the nerve and muscle, and lupus is more joint pain. And both of them just leave me exhausted. The first one was discoid lupus, where you get the butterfly rash on your face, and then a couple of years later, I had the systemic lupus. Like I said, I'm lucky it doesn't affect any of my internal organs. Um, I was also diagnosed shortly after that with the fibro, and then everything else started falling apart. I had the Raynaud's. That's where your hands can turn white or turn purple. It has something to do with the circulation, I think. They've never
Mm-hmm.
turned white, which is really bad, but they have turned a bluish purple before. The Sjogren's gives you dry mouth and dry eyes, so I have to use eye drops every day and a special mouthwash. Um, I have to be tested once a year because I take Plaquenil or hydroxychloroquine for the lupus, and I will probably be taking that the rest of my life. But it can cause damage to the retina, and so I have to
Mm-hmm.
go in and have all that tested, once a year. So far, everything's been good. And then I've had surgery, several surgeries actually, on my hands. They went back in 2018 and removed a bone on each hand because it was bone on bone. And then in 2021, they went in and removed 2 bones out of each hand and then fused it with a staple. They did the left hand first because we thought it was the worst. About 4 months later, they had to go in and remove the staple because the lupus rejected it. And so they got in there and they took it out, and they had to scrape a bunch of inflammation out. So now there's permanent damage to that hand because of the 2 surgeries. There's nerve damage, And then my pinky and my ring finger over there, every joint is bone on bone, but they can't really do surgery on that. So I can't lift or grasp or anything. And then after the second surgery, they went in and did the right hand and removed two bones. And I haven't had a problem with that one. I mean, it still hurts, but um, not really a problem. Um, then I was told that I needed to lose 40 more pounds. I had bariatric surgery in 2020 and lost 100 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it took 2 years to do it, but I did it. I mean, I started out at 338 and I'm down to 210, so I'm pretty proud. But I went in and had a revision surgery on December 12th, and 28 pounds of that I've lost since then.
Yeah.
But my orthopedic doctor told me I have to have both knees replaced in my hip. So they have to go in and do the left knee, which is the worst. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's bone on bone, obviously, lots of bone spurs. And what he told me is, I'm quoting, is that he did was I had to do the one of the hips, or sorry, one of the knees first, so I would have a good leg to stand on.
Yeah.
Then they would go in and do the right hip, which was worse off than both of my knees. And then after it heals, they'll do the right knee, but I may hold off on the right knee depending on how bad it gets. I can be standing or walking, and the right hip just gives out. No pain or nothing until after it gives out, but it goes numb. I walk with a cane. So everybody says, well, exercise. Well, you can't really exercise when you've got knee problems and hip problems. And they're like, well, go to the Y and go swimming. Well, I just getting out in public right now. I'm
Is
not, I'm embarrassed to get out in public. I have social anxiety disorder.
uh-huh.
I, I used to work for a call center, and that's when I started having anxiety or panic attacks. But it wasn't until I lost my daughter that it all came out. And the depression I had suffered with for a long time, but there was about 6 months after she passed away, the depression got really bad,
Mm-hmm.
and thoughts entered my mind that shouldn't have entered.
Yeah.
Uh, so I finally got in to see somebody. I'm still, even this long out, I'm still into grief counseling. Um, but the social anxiety, if I'm in a checkout, I can check out fine by myself at Walmart, but if I'm in a line, I just feel like I'm closed in. I can't be around a lot of people if it's noisy, because it makes me edgy. um, so there's that, and the PTSD is from a lot of things growing up. um, I am a survivor of domestic violence. My second husband was very, very awful. He was very mean. But the PTSD mostly was from my daughter, holding her hand and watching her pass. No parents should have to go through that, or aunt or sister or grandkids, or no family member should have to watch their loved one die.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm
the
so
entire
sorry.
room in the ICU was packed with people. Friends flew in from Wyoming and Colorado and Las Vegas, and she was very loved. Someone had said at one point there were 500 people at her funeral. I don't know. I wasn't looking around at that time, but um, there's no cure for cardiac sarcoma, which is what she had, and she
Mm-hmm.
lasted 2.5 years longer than what her original heart doctor or cancer doctor had told her. So anyway, that's what that is. Speaking of no cure, there's no cure for lupus either. So I just keep chugging along. I'm too stubborn to quit. So a lot of the weight loss was for the surgeries, but I also want to be able to do stuff with my grandkids. They're between the ages of 12 and 21. And of course, the 18 to 21-year-old will do their own thing now. But
Yeah.
um, my other ones are teenagers, and there's things I would like to do still with them.
Oh, yeah.
They're my biggest, them and my other daughter, they're my biggest reason for wanting to live. So,
Yeah. Wow, there's so much to unpack there of,
yeah,
you can just tell that although like you've said that you have so much to live for, and um, you have family and things that help with the coping, all of these things that you're talking about are kind of connected, and
yeah,
add up and just really creates quite a bit that you're having to just deal with on a day-to-day basis. What's day what is a day in life like for you?
Well, when I get up in the morning, I don't sleep very well. I suffer insomnia, so I have to take medicine at night, which is really weird. I take gabapentin because my legs has the polyperipheral neuropathy, which means I've got nerve damage in both legs, and that was brought on by the lupus. And I take 7.5 milligrams of Flexeril at night, and if I don't, my legs hurt so bad that I can't sleep. It's not restless leg syndrome. Everybody thinks that's what it is, but it's not what that is. And
Mm-hmm.
the gabapentin helps with the nerve pain a little, but if I don't take the Flexeril, the muscle relaxant, I can't sleep. So I only average about 3 to 4 hours of sleep a night. Sometimes if I don't have to get up the next day, I can knock out 6 or 7 hours. Now, there's times that I will take a day and do nothing but sleep, because my body's telling me it's getting ready to go in a flare and I need to take care of myself. But I get up, my feet hurt. That's the first thing. I have to walk, a little bit to get the feet to work. Um, and then I get up and take my 18 pills, that I have to take every morning. And wait for I take tramadol for pain, which it just
Mm-hmm.
takes the edge off, which I can live with. The joint pain is always going to be there. And even if when they do the knee and the hip replacement, it's always going to be there. But and the foot, you've got the joints in your toes and your fingers and shoulders, so there's always going to be joint pain somewhere. So I try. um, a lot of times you just have to ignore the pain and push on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I watched a couple of friends little ones in the evening or during the day, I'm sorry, which I never knew what I was missing until I had little ones around again, and they keep me busy and hopping.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that keeps my mind off a lot of stuff. And my counselor actually told me that was one of the best things I did, was to have little ones around to keep me busy, so I don't sit there and think and rehash my daughter passing or start feeling
Yeah.
sorry for myself because I hurt all the time. My thing with the hurting all the time is a lot of people don't understand what someone with lupus goes through, because the big saying is, if you don't look sick, they don't think you're sick.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know internally what I go through every day, pain wise, the knees, the hips, the hand that I can't hardly use. I tried lifting something up above my head the other day, um, right after surgery, my bariatric surgery, but there's no one else to do it. And I couldn't get any grip with my left hand. So it's every day there's something. Um, I've got a little house that I live in, and it literally takes me 2 days to clean it. Um,
Wow.
because I have to sit down a lot because of hand pain or joint, the knee pain or whatever. I try to keep it picked up as much as I can, but to really deep clean it, it'll take me 2 days.
Wow. Yes.
And
Yeah.
because what I think of is, I think there's so many people that have it worse off than me. I'm not an invalid laying in bed. I'm not in a wheelchair. Um, I don't have cancer. I don't have kidney involvement or lung, so I look at it this way. I'm very blessed in that what I have is not as bad as it could be. So, I mean, by the grace of God, I'm still here and kicking.
Well, you talked about Carla, uh, how it helps you to focus, whether that's on your grandchildren or your kids or others. What's your hope to do for others?
I tell you what I would like in the Joplin area, in this area at all. We don't have a lupus support group, and a lot of people face lupus, and they go by what their endocrinologist or their rheumatologist or whoever they're seeing tells them. Um, I did a lot of research on lupus, and of course, you always go for what the bad scenario is. So I had a friend tell me, quit looking up Google. Google is not your
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
So my rheumatologist tells me what to expect, if it's going to progress, but we have no lupus support group in this area. And I think that that is something that I would like to see. I don't know that I'm the person to spearhead it, because I think we need to have a doctor involved as well,
Mm-hmm.
for medical reasons, because we should never give out medical advice because we're not qualified for that. But, just someone where we can go that people understand. A lot of divorces have happened because of autoimmune diseases. My ex, when we were going through our divorce, told a friend that after I was diagnosed with lupus, that I had changed. Well, yeah, duh. Yeah, you're going
Yeah.
to, it's not something that you take lightly. So, and I'm okay being divorced. Just my third one, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. So, and that's okay. But, um, they need a place where they can come in and talk and not feel like people are making them feel bad because they're sick. You
Yeah.
know, they can just come in and vent and, hey, listen, I had to go to the hospital because my blood's got an infection in it, or whatever, without the family going, okay, whatever. We just have to. We need a place that we can talk. People don't really know what lupus is unless they've had it or they've had a loved one that's had it.
Yeah.
So I tell you who has been wonderful is, he goes by Liquid Shano. And we used to have, like, it was one of those chat rooms that you could go into. I don't remember, coffee talk, or I don't remember what was talked. But and I met a lot of people through there. And it wasn't too long, maybe a year after I lost my daughter. So I was still going through a lot of grieving, but um a lot of them I met through there, and they're very, very supportive of it. And they're always asking me how I am, how am I feeling, and that there means a lot to me. Um, because in my family, a lot of people don't ask that. I've got one brother that does,
Yeah.
and my oldest niece does, and then my middle niece by my other brother, she does stuff. She's the one who takes me for surgeries and stuff, because my daughter can't get off from work because of her position at work.
Yeah.
Uh, but sometimes it's just nice for somebody to ask you, how are you doing? How are you feeling? My church family, they check on me regularly. Um, it's just, I have a good support group system. My
Mm-hmm.
daughter understands because she was diagnosed with a different autoimmune disease, which she's actually in remission right now. But so she understands to a degree. I know she gets tired of hearing me talk about lupus and what lupus is doing to me. But if I ever needed her, she would be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So, but I reach out mostly on social media, because it's, to me, is non-judgmental. They accept you at face value. I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I don't want pity. I just want sometimes somebody to be empathetic, maybe. I don't know. Um, I just want to know someone cares, because that's important to me, because I live by myself, and you stare at four walls unless the kids are here, and the loneliness is horrible. It's just
Mm-hmm.
horrible. And so when you get on and you can talk or chat with someone, it lifts your spirits so much. And uh, TikTok has just been, I've met people through TikTok, that have just been wonderful. Same thing with my Facebook, same thing with Instagram. Um, if I put on Facebook, I'm not feeling well, that I'm hurting, a dozen people will respond, what can I do? What can I do to help? And it's like, you just, it's not like I can call somebody up and say I'm hurting and they'll run right over. I'm sure there's some that would, but I won't be a burden to them. Well, of course, I take my medicine, in the morning and the afternoon. I've had people say, "Why don't you wean off the medicine?" I'm not that person. The medicine keeps me functioning. I was off quite a bit of my, what do they call it, immunosuppressants, when I had 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after I had my bariatric surgery in December, and I could tell that I was off of it. I was hurting. I was swollen in my joints. So I'm not that person that's going to back off. I'm
Yeah.
also not the person that's going to do medical marijuana. I don't judge anybody that does, but it's just not my thing, you
Yeah.
know? Um, I'm trying to eat healthier. I'm trying to lose the weight because I know that affects the joints. There's damage already done from, like I said, weighing 338 pounds at one time. I was an emotional eater. So now I can't wait till I get my knees replaced in my hip because I want to start walking. That's going to be awesome for me to be able to get out and do stuff. Um, I try to stay busy around here. I don't, the funniest thing is I don't watch TV unless the kids are here. I play my games on my phone, and I may go into TikTok for a while if somebody I know's on, live or something.
Mm-hmm.
I watch reels on, Instagram.
Yeah.
Sometimes or Facebook. Sometimes if it's nice out or, not real cold, I'll go get some flowers and take them out to Amanda's, you know, uh, resting space. I won't lie. There's times that I'll sit here and just cry. Not
Yeah.
just because of the loss of a daughter, which is, 70% of it. Like I said, nobody should go through losing a child, no matter what age. Um, but I sit here and I think, I'm almost 60. I'm single. I never imagined my life to be this way at all. I was always, you know, planning on going before my children. That was the
Yeah.
plan. Of course, God has other plans. But I'll sit here and think, who wants to be around a woman who's ill, who's got stuff going on? Um, so I've accepted that I will probably be alone. I also don't want to put somebody through that to watch me go through the stuff I do. I don't think it's fair to them to be
Mm-hmm.
tight with me. But like I said, when the little ones are here, I'm so busy and I have so much love, and they call me Yaya. Now my grandkids call me Mima, but I'm Yaya to the little ones, which that's sacred to them. That's their thing. And the little 4-year-old will come up and he'll go, Yaya, I just love you. And you don't know what that does for my entire day. My entire day is just made right then. And I always tell everybody they've all got a little piece of my heart, these kids. And I think that with them some of my depression has went away. Last year, well, my late daughter had promised she was going to take me to the ocean. I was the only one in my family that never got to see the ocean. Then she passed away. My oldest daughter took me last year to Florida, and the ocean and I have a hate relationship right now because it knocked me on my butt twice. So, but I got to go out and see dolphins and all that. But I felt like I was a Debbie Downer because I couldn't keep up with them, and I was in so much pain from being in the sun and from not being able to walk. And I felt like I kind of brought her and her two boys and two nephews down. But they did their own thing. They were happy. So
Yeah.
that was actually the top thing on my bucket list.
Oh.
Forever. That was my top thing. And then I want to go up to like around Boston and there when the fall leaves turn. So that's another bucket list. And then I actually wrote some of the stuff down. I want to go different places this summer, like what is it called, Magnolia Place, with Joe and Chip Gaines.
Wow.
It may not be but big for anybody else, but even if I have to drive down there by myself, that's something I want to do. I want to have the knee replacement so that I can actually walk up and down the hills at Silver Dollar City. If not, I don't mind getting on a scooter and doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I want to do stuff like that. I want to go to the arts and crafts festivals this fall because I haven't been able to before. That's my long term thing. I just want to get out and do more and do things I haven't been able to do because of the effects of lupus.
Yeah.
So those are some of my goals. It's just things I want to travel. Obviously,
Yeah.
but I didn't mention that I'm on full disability. And
Okay.
I was approved after. Oh, I've got a grandson in here saying hi, Mima.
Hey.
Hi,
Oh,
Dudley.
hey,
Hey, Dud-
everybody.
That's that's his nickname's Dudley. He's my baby.
Oh.
Uh, yeah. Uh, they approved my disability back in 2018 in 4 months. I didn't have to hire an attorney or anything. Just from the doctor's records and all the stuff that was going on with my body, it was approved. And I have to go every 3 years and have it done. But at this point, within 2 or 3 weeks, I get a letter saying, "Yep, you're still approved." So, um, to me, I mean, a lot of, like I said, a lot of people think if you look good on the outside, you're not sick.
Yeah, yeah.
But and a lot of people go for disability that don't deserve it, you know. And I'm sorry to say that, but sitting and eating Church's chicken and Burger King constantly at lunch and then gaining up to 400 or 500 pounds to get on disability does not, to me, constitute disability.
Of what it's there for.
I'm sorry.
Of what it's there for, right? It's there for
People that need it. And there's some people that are still working to this day that won't apply for disability because they don't want a handout. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Um, I miss working. I really do. But I can't stand for more than 10 minutes without both my legs going numb. I can't use my hands to type anymore. So there's not a whole, the hip. So there's not a whole lot I can do. But I miss working a lot. Um, I worked at home before I went on disability, and which was good. But again, I was secluding myself, or, staying at home. I didn't, when I got off the phones and stuff, I was done. I'd go and move from one room to the other, and that was it. And I gained a lot of my weight then too, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of it I had started gaining before my divorce. I lost weight during my divorce. And then I started putting it on when Amanda was diagnosed in 2016 with the cardiac sarcoma, because I'm an emotional eater. And then
Yeah.
working at home, I'd have all my food laid out on my desk. I'd have like the cherry tomatoes, I'd have the protein bars, thinking, okay, well, these are healthy, but you know what? You don't eat them all in one sitting, you know.
Yeah.
So I had to relearn my way of eating, which I have. I wasn't doing so good
Yeah.
the first part of last year. I was eating candy and bread, and potatoes, and I am not going to go back to that again because it's really important. I got into a size extra large yesterday shirt. I haven't done that in over 20 years. And I felt good about myself for the first time in a long, long time. And
Yeah. It's a
I mean,
struggle. Everybody has a struggle with that, I think, right? And whatever their circumstance is, sometimes just trying to make the best choices for yourself, whether that's because of self-worth issues or whether that is because of, like you said, the emotional component. I think we all can be kind to each other, right? About
that's a
how,
lot. People need to learn how to be kind, and they
yeah,
need to be more tolerant of people. You know
mhm.
what? More compassion. That's what I'm
There
looking
you go. Yeah,
for. Compassion. Now I've got, let's see, my four youngest grandkids are two 12-year-olds, a 13-year-old, and a 15-year-old. And they are my biggest support for my weight loss. And if I go to eat something I'm not supposed to, they'll take it from me. They're like, no, Mom, you're not supposed to have that. And, sometimes it can make me really mad, but I know they're doing it out of love. And Jennifer, my daughter, is the same way. Um, she gets more upset that I don't eat right sometimes, when I went to all
yeah.
this trouble. But the grandkids are my biggest support when it comes to my weight loss.
Oh,
Um,
oh yeah. They're like they're fiercely protective of
they're
their.
very, very protective, very protective. And I'm very protective of them. I would take a bullet for any one of them. Um,
Yeah,
But anyway, like I said, I just keep on keeping on. I can't let it get me down. I used to just, I did. I felt sorry for myself because, oh, poor, pitiful me. Why did I get it? And, some drug addict on the street is doing fine. They don't have this, or
yeah,
that can be said about a cancer. Why is there a drug addict on the street, yet my daughter died of cancer? There's a lot of things that you can feel sorry for yourself for, or for, family members or whatever. But at some point you have to get over that. The feeling sorry has to stop, and you have to get that drive to just want to keep pushing through and be stronger than what you are.